Hi, all. We've been talking over and over again about how the emotional aspects of how we deal with food, how we deal with comfort, how we deal with the drives that we have to manage the stress in our lives. Food is at the center and core of everything. It manifests itself because it's something that we cannot live without, and it gives us comfort. It soothes us. It distracts us. It gives us pleasure. And yet, here we are talking about food because it's managing us, and we're not managing it. I was thinking the other day that we sit and talk about food as though it is not only the center of everything, but it determines how we act and how we feel. I've had several experiences in this last few weeks that have reinforced my feeling that if we learn to live with food, our lives will change. Now, I'd like to start off with one simple concept. I have asked numerous people over the last 2 weeks in very different kinds of ways a question. Basically, the question is, how do I feel when I'm in control? And how do I feel when I'm not in control? And then the last question of all, and that is, when I have a week on the program where I've really been happy about the number, 5 or 6 pounds in a week, how do I feel? And the answer to all of them is basically the same. It feels really good. And I would like to feel that way more and more because it changes everything about my life, how I react, how I respond, how I feel, how I get through the day. So let's back up. And let's recognize that with AccuWeight, we're doing 2 things. We say we're losing weight. Absolutely correct. But we are losing weight by learning first and foremost to live without food. On AccuWeight, it's easy because the beads have blocked our brains from being able to count calories. Our body doesn't realize that it's living with less calories. And because of that, our liver is breaking down fat into glycogen, which is a form of sugar, and we're living 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, off the sugar that came from our fat. Now, if we're living off the sugar that comes from our fat, it's the other major reason we're not hungry. So we're driven. It's craving. And unless we address the craving, we're going to be stressed. And the stress is going to lead to other things, none of which really feel good. That brings me to the place where you need to stop, you need to hear, and you need to verbalize. Let me make a statement that I want you to incorporate. Anything that's in your head has potential. If you don't verbalize it, it does not exist in the real world. If it does not exist in the real world, you can't really get any comfort and satisfaction from it. Now, here's what I want you to recognize and do. I used to talk about the Werthers, the Halls, in regard to the magic protocol. It worked for some people. It didn't work for others because people did not follow through. These past 2 weeks, I have taken people off the Werthers, off the Halls, and I have put them on Tic Tacs. Tic Tacs are now sugar-free and 0 calories. Therefore, if we put Tic Tacs in our mouths, we are not going to damage our issues with regard to weight loss. I have every single right to want. But when I say I want, it conflicts with the fact that I also want to lose weight. If I give in to my cravings, I don't lose weight. If I give in to my cravings, then I don't lose weight. Either way, I'm not a winner. And it doesn't feel good. So what do? Now listen very closely. The little child inside you exists only because you exist. And the child is only 5 years old. A 5-year-old wants what it wants when it wants it. It doesn't want to hear anything other than yes. And when it hears the yes, it's over. It goes from, I want what I want when I want it, to, and that's because it's a child. And once its needs are met, until the need grows again, everything is fine. I don't know about you, but my problem is that I'm comforted for a moment, and then I'm left with the residue of guilt and remorse. Why did I do it? And it becomes problematic. if I can be consistent in taking care of me at the same time that I'm comforted, things come together in an exciting and delightful kind of way. Now, admit to the child within you that you want to go off and be comforted, but you're troubled by that because it will conflict with your wanting to lose weight. So how you get comfort is critical. Separate out the child from you as entities, but understand they have to work together. When I tell my granddaughter that I will play with her, she's excited and happy. When I tell her I'm not going to play with her, she's more than unhappy. She has feelings. I can't always play with her. And so what I've done is I've set up certain activities that do not take my time when I'm occupied, but she can show me the result. I can respond to the result, and she feels cared for and loved, and I don't get the reaction. So what are we doing? I'm telling my child self, every single time I want to stray from the program, that I'm using these Tic Tacs, which have no calories, and 3 of them, that I'm putting them in my mouth to substitute for going off the program, and it will make me feel good. And if my child self, and it does, it's just not understanding about consequences, it wants me to feel good. That's why the moment I go off the program, it's done, because its mission has been accomplished. So if it can see me happy by putting these Tic Tacs in my mouth and join me in my happiness. Now, how does that happen? I have to do it again and again and again and again and again, and respond in positive ways again and again and again. And guess what? It becomes a new patterned behavior. My child self accepts. And the reason the child self accepts is because there are other times when I simply say, let's go for it. But it's controlled, it's limited. I feel good, the child self feels good, and in the back of my mind, I know I have a method for addressing it after the fact. Use the Tic Tacs. Use them 100 times a day if necessary. They're not damaging, and you'll move towards being a real winner. Take care.